All right, y'all. Welcome back. Welcome back to the Peter Weistrop Show. Give y'all another one, man. Do a disclaimer, man. We do this for education and research purposes only. Do not condone violence or drug use. All right, y'all. With that being said, man, I'm giving y'all the kings of the South, man. You got the underground kings, then you got the kings, man. Suave House. This is the origins of Suave House. 8 Ball MJG, T Little Mr. Mike, Crime Boss. Hey, man, if y'all ain't from the South, these brothers was on top in the 90s, in the end of the 90s, going into the 2000s, man. They ran the South, man. With that being said, let me be quiet. I'm gonna do a little commentary, a little talking, but I'm gonna try to let them do more talking. This is an educational video. That being said, let go.
Suave House Records was one of the pioneer record labels in the South. They'd introduce us to legendary duo 8 Ball and MJG, along with a talented roster that would create some of the biggest songs in the South. Coming up during the
Hey, y'all, hold on. Y'all hit that like button, man. Y'all be low riding me on these likes. I be searching, trying to find good content. I don't bring y'all no book, no BS. Hit that like button, man. Hit that like button, hype button. Hype me up, like me up. And this video number 23 minutes, man. Watch it all the way through, man. There's some good stuff about
time
8 Ball.
They gave little respect to Southern acts, Suave House was able to overcome their challenges and be one of the primary sources to help bring respect to Southern hip-hop. Suave House began as Suave Records, a small record label based in Houston, Texas, ran by Tony Draper. Tony would have a dream and a game plan to create a successful record label. Tony got his start early in his teenage years DJing with his friend Brad and his brother Warren Lee. While in high school, he would see his friend Brad sign a record deal with Rap-A-Lot Records. Tony's friend Brad would join the Ghetto Boys and now go by a new name, Scarface. Tony watched Scarface and the Ghetto Boys rise to prominence firsthand, as he had friends and family that were connected to the label. Tony had a good ear for talent and would get his first taste of management when he helped get a good friend who worked at Olive Garden with him named Mike get a record deal with Rap-A-Lot Records. Tony would introduce Mike to his cousin John Beto, who was a producer at Rap-A-Lot Records. Upon hearing Mike's music, John immediately fell in love with it and forwarded it over to Jay Prince. After hearing his music, Jay Prince made an immediate offer to Big Mike. Mike was signed to Rap-A-Lot Records and would be put into the group The Convicts and later the Ghetto Boys. While Rap-A-Lot was growing, Tony was learning the business by watching Rap-A-Lot and soon was ready to give his own label a try. In 1990, Suave Records was founded, with their first artists being At Large and R. Swift.
So y'all gotta realize this way back this is 1990. Not 99, not 2000, 1990, man. Suave House Records, man. And this is one of my favorite record labels, Suave House. I jam everything off Suave House.
They will be placed along with a rapper named 8 Ball, but not Primro, into a group called SRC, or Smooth Brown.
So it's two 8 Balls. The 8 Ball we all know with MJG, that's Primrose. It's another 8 Ball that was signed to that group though.
SRC will be the debut release for Suave Records with their album Stuck Between the Styles. Tony reached out and was able to get Prince Johnny C of the Ghetto Boys to do the production on Stuck Between the Styles. The album had little success, but one thing of note is that it did include the original Mr. Big. After failing with Stuck Between the Lines, Tony would take a step back and create a new game plan on how to attack the rap business.
Did y'all catch that? It contained the original Mr. Big. Before Primrose did, somebody else did it. So Primrose came and redid it.
Meanwhile, in Memphis, young rappers 8 Ball and MJG had built up a local celebrity but weren't benefiting monetarily. 8 Ball, along with this crew, Organized Rhymes, had a hit off of his album, Listen to the Lyrics. 8 Ball featured his friend MJG on the song Lyrics of a Pimp, and it was a big hit in Memphis, causing them to become a group, 8 Ball and MJG. The situation with OTS Records and the owner Reggie Boylan quickly turned sour, starting a beef between 8 Ball and MJG and Reggie. During this same time period, Listen to the Lyrics made its way to Houston and to Tony Draper, who immediately fell in love with the sound and did whatever he could to reach 8 Ball and MJG. When Tony finally reached 8 Ball and MJG on the phone, they discussed their plans, and the next day, Ball and G were on a plane to Houston where they were offered a deal for.
See, the whole time, everybody thought Baldwin was down there in Orange Mountain, but they were stationed in Houston. You really said they jumped on the plane and went to Houston. Suave House is based out of H-Town, man. I don't know if they're going to say about him and Lil J getting into it, but him and Lil J had to crack heads. You know, so they crashed out behind this.
$50,000 to sign. Ball and G were ready to sign the deal immediately, but there was one holdup: their deal with OTS Records. Tony offered Reggie $50,000 for 8Ball and MJG, but it was immediately turned down as he knew they were worth a lot more money. As far as how 8Ball and MJG got to Suave House, it varies depending on who you talk to. Reggie had this version of the story.
But he did call me and asked me could he buy him out the contract, but he wanted me to meet him in some neighborhood. And I said, no, we're about to go over there something. I said, no, just meet me at the office. So, dude, I waited. I went back to the office and waited. He never showed up. So a week later, I heard they was in Texas.
After signing their deal, 8Ball and MJG immediately got to work on their album. They handled all of the production and lyrics on the album, as they would use the Houston atmosphere and combined it with their Memphis roots to create the theme and the music for their debut album, Coming Out Hard. The album was released on August 17th, 1993, and consisted of...
For y'all that don't know, that's not from down south. That is one of the hardest albums ever come out the south. That album right there, and then something, and then Ghetto UGK, the original UGK, the one with Tell Me Something Good. This one right here, Too Hard to Swallow, and the Ghetto Boys, the one where he got the phone in his hand, where Bushwick Bill got the phone with his eye. It was the hardest 3 albums come out of Texas, out of H-Town, man, out of the South. I don't care where you was at. I'm just gonna say the South in general. Them was some bad albums, boy.
9 songs.
They gave me, that was my blueprint of me getting in trouble.
It had 9 Little Millimeter Boys, Armed Robbery, Coming Out Hard, which were all great songs. With the inclusion of Pimps and Mr. Big, it becomes a certified Southern classic. This album was huge in the South and Midwest.
Yes, sir.
Cities like Memphis, Atlanta, Houston, Dallas, St. Louis, Nashville, and many others immediately embraced 8Ball and MJG, making the album a success, peaking at number 40 on the Billboard 200, despite having no radio play, music video, or singles. Looking to capitalize on their success, 8Ball and MJG immediately got to work on their follow-up album. This time around, they'd have a little more help, as Tony's old friend and first signee, R. Swift, who now went by the name Thorough, returned, along with another rapper from Houston named Crime Boss. Tony would also enlist an in-house producer, T-Mix, who'll be responsible for producing a lot of the great music that came out of Suave House. The new album will be named On the Outside Looking In. They'd include an old posse cut called Lay It Down that included Crime Boss and Thorough that they made when they first signed. Lay It Down is the only song on the album that has production by...
Go check out that Lay It Down. If you ain't never heard that Lay It Down by 8Ball, MJG, Tila, Thorough, Mr. Mike, the whole Suave House, you're lost in that sauce, man. And Lay It Down is a legend.
8Ball and MJG.
Classic,
as you can tell, the sound of it is completely different from every other song on the album. Highlights of the album would include Crumbs to Bricks, Players Night Out, Another Day in the Hood, Break a Beat College, No Mercy, where 8Ball takes the helm and delivers a gem. There's also On the Outside Looking In, where MJG goes solo and delivers another gem. There's also No Sellout and So What You Saying. The album was amazing and another album that's considered a Southern classic.
Yes,
This
sir.
was their first album to include features, as they had none on Coming Out Hard. On this album, they had Thorough and Crime Boss, and they also reached out to MC Breed for Seth's Head Funk Junkie. On the Outside Looking In didn't have as much commercial success, but it did do good, peaking at number 11 on the top R&B and hip hop chart and number 106 on the Billboard 200. In '94, Tony Draper would make another signing a Houston area rapper named Mr. Mike. Mike would be placed in a group with Thorough called South Circle, and they would make many features before dropping their debut album. Suave would sign a distribution deal with Universal Records, which would lead to their most profitable period. Suave House and all of its artists worked hard in 1994 to get ready for 1995, which is going to be a very ambitious year. They kicked off the year with releasing Crime Boss's debut album, All in the Game, on February 7th. Crime Boss got a buzz with his lead single, The Chick, featuring MJG, that was very dope. On the song, they talk about a guy named Phil who falls in love with a woman and they have a baby, to turn out that the baby wasn't Phil's. Other highlights include Put 'Em Up, Point of No Return featuring South Circle, that's pretty dope, Dreaming, and much more. The album had success, peaking at number 11 on the top R&B and hip.
It's another hard album that came out the South. I've been watching you, the way you move them things, baby.
Hip-hop charts.
This is Expedient's Gym Monster 2.
Sorry
If you're
about
not
the pause,
familiar with
y'all.
Expedient's Gym Monster, let's first talk about what it is.
Next up for Suave was South Circle. On July 4th, we get their debut album, Another Day, Another Baller. The lead single,
Hard album. I still jam it to this day, the South Circle.
Attitudes, was very dope. Other highlights include New Day, that's very dope, where Mr. Mike killed it. Unsolved Mystery, that includes one of my favorite verses by 8 Ball. Another Day, Another Baller, and more. This was another successful album for Suave, peaking at number 63 on the Billboard 200 and number 8 on the Billboard Top R&B and Hip Hop chart. In late 95, 8 Ball and MJG went back to Memphis to recruit an old friend from OTS named Tila. Tila's career was at a standstill at the time, having trouble with OTS himself, and he began working with a troubled producer named Jazzy Faye, who had recently been released from Elektra Records. They would all go down to Houston and along with T-Mix get to work on Tila's debut album. While working on Tila's album, 8 Ball and MJG would be finishing up their next album, On Top of the World. T-Mix would handle the bulk of the production on the album, and they would also reach out to label mates Crime Boss and South Circle for features.
Yeah.
They would come together to create a brilliant song called All in My Mind, where all of them describe different situations of daydreaming. MJG had a wild situation with En Vogue, Quincy Jones, and Medusa. 8 Ball does a great countdown from 1 through 9 describing a situation. And South Circle brought their A game, as they always do on 8 Ball and
It's a hard
MJG
album
features.
too, y'all.
Tony Draper
Hit that like button, hit that like button. This one with Space Age pimping on it, man. That's a bad album. Check it out. If y'all ain't heard it, go check it out.
brought in his good friend Big Mike, along with E40 and Mac Mall to appear on Friend or Foe. They would finish up the album, and On Top of the World would be released on October 31st, 1995 to critical acclaim. The album managed to go gold despite being released on a hard day, with the Dog Pound and Cypress Hill also releasing albums that both went platinum. Highlights of the album will be Hand of the Devil, For Real, Friend or Foe, Coming Up, where they talk about.
All right, y'all. I ain't gonna take this man whole video. I said it was 20 minutes long. I'm only gonna do 10 of it. This is the Doc's Hype. This dude channel writer is Doc's Hype. DOCS Hype. Doc is hype. You know, so he doing a pretty good job of covering on 8 Ball and MJG and South Circle, man. Excuse me, South Circle and Suave House Records. That being said, man, we're gonna get up out of here on this one, man. I got a lot of stuff going on. That's the reason I'm really in this. I take care of something, but I come back and give y'all another for the night over with. It's still kind of early. Peace.